In today's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, we sit down to talk with Erin, who is big into board games. She recently created a book. We talk about her book. She created a YouTube video, a documentary, if you will, as well as she has an upcoming podcast. So we dive into all of that. Instead of having a game on Kickstarter, she has a book about board games on Kickstarter. So stay tuned until after Kickstarter Corner to find all about what Erin Dean has going on in the board gaming world. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by two different games. The first one being TradeWarz, a Game of Kingz. The Game of Kingz is a 5X, you got that right, 5X empire building game in resource management, strategy, and military might, where you zealously need to rule. Want to find out all about what a 5X game is? Well, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to episode 185, Wishlist Wednesday, which was this last Saturday, TradeWarz, a Game of Kingz, when we sat down and talked with the three creators that are from South Africa. So go back and listen to the episode. We'll wait for you. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning into that last episode. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by Stupid Users Beta, a new game that is on Kickstarter as well. Stupid User Beta is a unique, fast-paced, ever-changing item-looting, army-building card game based upon an awesome comic book that was created by one of the users. Well, not users, but the creators of the game. I would definitely go ahead and check it out. You want to know more about it? Well, we've got you covered. You can go back and listen to episode 182, Wishlist Wednesday, on Friday, which we sat down with both the creators of this great game on the 31st of August and told you all about it. You can go back and listen to the episode. We'll wait for you. Thanks for checking out that episode. We're back. Now, let's dive into the show, shall we?
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Quick reminder to hang on until after the Kickstarter Corner to find out all about what Erin Dean has going on with her upcoming board game book, board game podcast, and what she's doing now. Now let's get in with Kickstarter Corner, shall we?
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leafs computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leafs.
I don't think I'm ever going to tire of her singing that, but maybe I will. But it's awesome. Now, there's a couple great games on Kickstarter. We'll tell you about a couple of them. Well, there's a lot of games on Kickstarter, isn't there? A couple of them are awesome, or at least being covered by us. There's other awesome ones that we're not covering. You want to get your game covered by Getting Geeky with Game Relief? Go ahead and send us an email over at gamerleaf@gamerleafgo.com, or message us on Facebook at Getting Geeky with Game Relief or Blake Leafty. We'd love to feature your game on the podcast. But anyways, the ones that are being featured this week are great. Some of them got a while just started. Some of them are almost done. So go ahead and check them out. We'll leave the links in the show notes. First off, we've got Survival of the Dummies Trivia Game Essential Pack. Can you rub your belly and pat your head and name all the constellations in the sky? Do you like to see others complete tasks while doing weird things? Can you think like a genius while acting like a dummy? This twist on a trivia party game will test your skills. They funded after they revamped a little bit and relaunched, and their project is almost done, so they've reached their goal. Whenever you're listening to this, depending on when you listen, if you listen on the website, you have 34 hours or about that. But if you're not listening until it hits the actual podcast catchers, you're going to get a little bit later, and you only have about, just trying to think here, well, you'll have like 3, 2, you'll have 7 hours or something. So either way, whenever you're listening to this, definitely go check that one out, as it's almost closing up shop here. So definitely check out Survival of the Dummies Trivia Game Essential Pack. It sounds so much fun. Another one that's drawing to a close, but you got a little bit of time, but I wouldn't waste your time. Definitely I wouldn't do that. But you got Crazier 8's 1001 Nights, a gateway fantasy card game. Now, if you recall, maybe you don't, maybe you do, but the Leafs, we previewed Crazier 8's the Camelot version. Yes, sirree, Bob, we did. And I personally loved that game. It was awesome. So definitely, if you want to find out what myself as well as the other Leafs thought about that great game, you know what you can do? You can head on over to GamerLeaf at GamerLeafGo.com or your podcast catcher and listen in to our Family Fun Day Friday 33, Crazier 8's Camelot, in which we talked about it. Or you can just go over to the Facebook page, which is Getting Geeky with GamerLeaf, or Facebook.com/GamerLeaf CLP. Actually search Getting Geeky with GamerLeaf and we'll come up. And then go to the page, and the pinned post on the top is our Family Fun Day Friday 33, Crazier 8's Camelot. So you can listen and see how much fun we had playing that game. I loved it, and so much in fact that I had Lady Leaf go ahead and back the new one, the Crazier 8's 1001 Nights. So definitely check that out. There's 5 days to go. You can make it a lot of fun at game night at your house. So definitely check that one out. Another one that's on the Kickstarters is Battle Bosses. Battle Bosses is a multiplayer miniature battle arena game for 2 to 6 players, where each player controls an epic boss and their minions. And when I say epic, I mean epic. You should definitely check this one out from Kesco. It's awesome. I'm really hoping they finally cleared $20,000. They're at $20,500. They're going for $45,000. And there's still 5 days to go to get in on the action, as it ends Friday the 14th of September. So definitely check that one out. Did you play Truth or Dare as a kid? I know I did. Well, you can play it as an adult now, and you can have your 13 and older people play it as well. In the Jackwagon has a strategic party game for people. Players perform challenges to earn badonka dollars. The most money after 60 to 90 minutes wins. They reached their goal quite some time ago, and there's still about a week left to back this one. If you want to play the family-friendly way like we would, as we're a family-friendly podcast, definitely check out option number 1, play the family-friendly way. And you would do that by playing with the green challenge deck only, by removing the jacked up cards and excluding the Jackwagon deck. Our family-friendly version, acceptable for teens ages 13 to adult. Do you like dragons? Do you like meeples? Why not combine them into Dreeples, Dragon Meeples, and TradeWarz, the relaunch. It's an awesome game. Awesome game upgrades with an explosive board game option. So yeah, you want to have dragons and meeples combined, definitely check out this great game. I'm scrolling down. You can use the Dreeples in anything from Monopoly to other things. Plus, they have TradeWarz, the game. It looks awesome. I would definitely go check it out. And we'll leave the links in the show notes so you can check out Dreeples, Dragon Meeples, and TradeWarz relaunch. Next is No Escape. No Escape is a competitive maze-building take-that game for 2 to 8 players. Fast-paced, easy-to-learn game plays in about 30 to 60 minutes. Place dead ends to block your opponents. Play your action tiles to provide you the greatest advantage. Make it out before there is no escape. On the Kickstarters through Thursday, the 27th of September. A new one that just launched the Kickstarter and is almost to their goal is Mad Dice, aka Mood Dice. They're color-changing dice based on surrounding temperature, aka Mood Dice. The Leafs are going to get some of these in the mail. It sounds like they're on their way, but they have some some mood dice, and they look awesome. So definitely head on over to your Kickstarter if your dice collection isn't complete and check out Mad Dice, aka Mood Dice, on Kickstarter through the 8th of October. Let's jump into our interview with Erin, already in progress, shall we? We shall.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. You know, usually we interview people that have new board games on Kickstarter and whatnot a lot of the time. Tonight we have a different treat for you, somewhat a little bit different. Have you heard of books about board games? Well, tonight it's your lucky treat as we have Erin on, who created and is in the process of creating For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers. Is that correct, Erin? You're the mastermind and creator behind this great book?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Yes, so thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Erin.
Yeah, I really am excited to talk more.
For sure. Now, before we get into this great book and everything that it's about, let's rewind a little bit if we could. We don't have to go back too terribly far, of course, unless you were born into the tabletop board gaming world. But how did you get started into playing tabletop board games and whatnot, Erin?
So as a kid, I played the mass market games just like a lot of American children. I played Sorry, Monopoly, Clue, the Game of Life. But it was when I was in high school, I was gifted Ticket to Ride, and that's when I kind of rediscovered the board gaming hobby, and I fell in love with it, and I've been collecting board games ever since.
Oh boy, well, what do you say your collection's up to?
I think it's 100, close to 150.
And I imagine you've played them all?
Yeah, I have played them all, and I'm constantly trading games, so I trade games and sell games, so if I haven't played it in a year, it's kind of, I put it up for sale.
Wow, that's pretty different. Like everybody I talk to, is a lot of us are collectors, are not able to get everything to the table, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. It is difficult. I run a game night twice a week, so I'm able to get a lot of games to the table pretty regularly, which I'm really happy about. Yeah,
that helps. I recently started going to, we have a board game night with Chris, who is the creator mastermind behind Casual Board Game Revolution, and he has a Casual Game Insider magazine that he puts out every year or quarterly, and yeah, he gets a lot of games out there as well, and yeah, so I've been able to play a lot more, so that's awesome. Now, out of those 100 games, well, I guess I don't have to ask you besides a game, because you created a board game book, not a game. So out of those 100 games, what's your current favorite?
I'd say my current favorite is, I love Captain Sonar. I love when I can get 8 people together, it's an experience like none other. But as far as like traditional 4-player goes, I'd have to say I really enjoy auction games, and I'm a big fan of Bitter Up. As far as real-time games go, which I'm a huge fan of, I'd say Escape the Curse of the Temple is one of my favorite games of all time.
And you have like different sections of different games that you like. It just depends on the type of game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's some mechanics that I don't enjoy particularly, but auction games, real-time games, team games tend to be what I lean towards.
So this Captain Sonar you speak of, I've heard of people talk about it on different podcasts and whatnot. I've never seen it. I do have a game called, what is it? Ray Guns and Rocket Ships. Is it anywhere in that ballpark, or what can you tell us about Captain Sonar? Maybe there's other people like me that haven't heard of it or haven't been able to play it yet.
Yeah, so Captain Sonar is Battleship on steroids. It's a team versus team game. So you play 4 versus 4. You have 4 roles. You have the radio operator, the captain, the first mate, and the engineer. And everyone's working together to try to hit the other team submarine or damage it, I believe, 3 times. And basically it's kind of like a game of cat and mouse. It's a hidden movement. and it's a real-time game, so everyone's kind of yelling out commands at the same time, so it's very fast-paced, feels like you're on a submarine team, and it's very, very thematic.
And so when you keep saying real-time, that means you're just playing, is everybody going at the same time, or what exactly does that mean?
Real-time, for those who don't know, is basically there are no turns, and everyone is playing at the same time. So Captain Sonar is a real-time game, so yes, no one is taking turns. Everyone's just shouting out and playing at the same time.
Okay, and if I recall, you also do a little work for Lucky Duck Games. Am I correct?
Yes. So I'm their part-time social media manager. So I work with Vince, the CEO of Lucky Duck Games, and I help with their social media efforts.
Awesome. And so when you say real-time game, the only one that I've ever seen where everybody's taking their turns at the same time, I've never played it, but I saw Michael Wright from the Unfiltered Gamer play, Jetpack Joyride. Is that similar? Is that a real-time game as well?
Yes, that's in the same wheelhouse. Yep.
Oh, okay, awesome. And are you a co-op girl, or do you like competitive more?
I'm a big fan of co-op, but every once in a while I prefer competitive. But if I had my choice and I had to pick between the two, I'd probably pick cooperative.
Oh, there you go. Why is that?
I like strategizing with teams. My favorite type of cooperative games is when it's competitive and cooperative. So team versus team game. So there is still that competitiveness, but you're still working with another player or players.
Well, there you go. Yeah, here at the Leaf home, we really like the competitive games, and whenever we're playing, my 10-year-old boy, Barbarian Leaf, he'll always say he wants to play the competitive, but he wants to be on somebody's team just so there's that chance that he won't lose or whatnot, even though he's pretty good at games.
Yeah, I like that too. I agree.
So going back to Captain Sonar, if you were to change one thing about the game, what do you think what would that be if you were able to change one thing about Captain Sonar?
If I could change one thing, I'd probably make the first mate role a little bit more complex, because the first mate is the easiest role out of the 4 roles, and I'd probably add something to it to make it a little more exciting for that player.
It's too easy, or?
Yeah, it's too easy. It's not too much to do. All you're doing is crossing off weapons and stuff. It's not that exciting, but I would probably give them another task to do. If
anybody's ever listening that has any updates or makes expansions or anything, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, what Erin, the creator of For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers, it would do to make that a little bit more interesting for the first mate. Now, going back to that, word on the street is, Erin, you have a new book on Kickstarter. Usually I say game, but you have a new book on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers?
Yeah, so For the Love of Board Games is a book I have written about board game design. So I'm always interested in the stories behind things. So in this case, the stories behind my favorite board games. So when I came up with this idea, I reached out to a lot of board game designers and ended up interviewing 55 board game designers for the book. And how I picked the ones I did interview were basically I looked at my own collection and my favorite games, and I reached out to those designers, as well as a few on Board Game Geek's Top 100 Games. So I looked at those 2 places, connected with those designers, and interviewed them about how they designed their games, what their inspiration was behind some of their most popular games, how they got into board gaming, etc. So if you want to learn more about your favorite board games and just some fun facts and more about your favorite designers, this is the book for you.
Awesome. Where'd the inspiration come from this? Or where'd the inspiration come from for this book, Erin?
About a year ago, last spring, so spring 2017, I created a documentary for a class I was in called The Board Game Boom, which is on YouTube. You can search that. And it's, I think it has 30,000 views on it right now. But basically, it's a documentary about board games and the board game industry, and it was a really fun passion project for me. And it had been about a year since I released that, and I was thinking to myself, I really want to do another board game project. What can I do? And I thought maybe it'd be fun to write a book. So I reached out to Reddit and I reached out to different groups and asked them, what type of book about board games would you like to see? And a lot of them were saying, I want to learn more about the board game designers behind my favorite games. So that's how I came up with the idea.
So what's next? Some music or something? I don't know. There's not much more you can do, is there?
I think I'm probably going to do more in the video realm of board games. I have some ideas up my sleeve, and I even have a nonprofit that I've been working on that is really, really exciting, and I can't wait to announce it. So be on the lookout for that. Feel free to follow me on social media on Facebook by searching Erin Dean, or my books group, For the Love of Board Games -book. But yeah, there's a really cool nonprofit I've been working on that I'm really excited to announce. And I also have some more Kickstarter campaigns on the way.
I didn't recant what I said. Well, I guess I didn't say I said music or whatnot, but you are actually working on something audio in the audio realm, if I'm correct. Do you have a new podcast coming out?
Yeah. So my podcast, which is under the same name as my book, For the Love of Board Games, is going to be on releasing on Facebook very, very soon, and I'm very excited about that.
And this will be something coming to iTunes and anybody's podcast catchers, is that right?
Yeah, it'll eventually be on iTunes, and for now it'll just be hosted on my website. And there's going to be ways to download it so you can get it on your iPod or your phone or whatever you listen to. But yeah, we're working on getting it on iTunes as well.
And what will that be? Will that be this kind of the same thing that the book is, where you're interviewing people, or what exactly would the podcast deal with? So the podcast, that's a good question. It's going to focus on the business side of the board game industry. So every episode, it'll be hosted by myself and then one or two of my co-hosts, and we will have a guest on the show, who's an expert in the episode's topic. So we've talked about game rule books and the importance of them. We've talked about how to run a successful Kickstarter. We've talked about marketing for the board game industry. We've talked about a lot of cool topics in regards to the business side of the industry. And who are your co-hosts?
So we have a few. We have Kathleen Mercury. She's a St. Louis native board game designer. We have Jillian Schmidt. She's pretty active on Facebook, is now a blogger for White Wizard Games. We have Jonathan Yang, who's the designer of Doom, Star Wars Imperial Assault, Nickelodeon Splat Attack, a lot of really cool games. We have Vaughn Reynolds, who is the marketing director for CrowdOx. And then finally, we have Daniel Robinson, who is a YouTuber and reviewer of board games.
Oh, wow. Is that hard to schedule? Or I guess you have one or two of them on with you every week?
Yeah. So it's going to be very, very rare when we're all on the same episode. So they kind of rotate out with me. Now,
maybe somebody's been listening. Maybe they've got kind of sidetracked or whatnot. Sometimes people get a little bit tired of hearing my voice drone on and on we're going into the second week of September, when we've already released 148 episodes for the year so far. And so sometimes they get tired of hearing me drone on and on. So sometimes they fall asleep or they get sidetracked doing something else and they miss what I was talking about or whatnot. It wouldn't be because of you or your book or anything like that. But why should they check out For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers on Kickstarter, especially with all the other great games that are on Kickstarter currently, Erin?
Well, I think people will enjoy this book because it's something new. Every day, there's always tons of board games that are coming out of Kickstarter, but there's not a ton of content that focuses on the stories behind board games. For example, maybe your favorite board game is Magic the Gathering, or maybe it's Escape the Curse of the Temple, which is one of my favorites. basically, this book is going to allow you to have a leg up on some of your friends, learn more about the game, and have a fun fact at the game night. You're going to be able to learn more about your favorite designers like Bruno Catala and Richard Garfield and Jamie Stegmaier, and you're going to be able to learn more about these people behind the board games and really see them as human beings and not just people who pump out games.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff to take in. Now, is this going to be one of those big, huge books that people put on their coffee table and everybody will see it when they come over? Or what exactly will they get if they go ahead and back your project, Erin?
So the book is a 6x9 book, so it's not a huge photo book or anything. But we just announced a hardcover version of the book, so it's one of our stretch goals. And the hardcover version of the book is going to feature a Kickstarter exclusive cover that only Kickstarter backers are going to get. So once the Kickstarter ends, this cover alternative art is not going to be available to anyone else. So it's basically a special edition of the book with some really, really cool artwork by the guy who did Dice Throne. His name is Manny. His last name is escaping me at the moment. But so that's really, really cool. We have some other exciting things we're going to be announcing. But yeah, definitely check it out on Kickstarter. There's still 20 days left, or 19 days left in the campaign. So we still got some time to go check it out. And yeah, I'd love for you to back it.
Awesome. And if they back it, what are the different reward levels? What all will they get?
There's several pledge levels. There's the supporter pledge level where you can just pledge $1 or more just to support the project. There's the paperback version of the book. There's the paperback plus the digital copy of the book, and then there's just the digital copy. And then soon, next week, we are going to be actually creating a pledge level for the hardcover version of the book. So anyone who's backed the project already can upgrade to that, and anyone who's new can go straight towards the hardcover if they're interested.
Okay, and we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they can go ahead and check that out so they don't have to type stuff in. Sometimes people get tired and don't want to type it in. Now, I don't, you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So if somebody goes ahead and they back For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers, when would they anticipate getting their book so they can start reading about these games and finding out the story behind them?
I'm hoping, or I know the book will be getting to backers before the holidays, so before Christmas and Hanukkah and all those holidays. So you will be getting it before the holidays. So it'll be the perfect holiday gift for your friends and family. And so you'll be getting it probably early December, late November.
Awesome. And like I said, we'll leave all the links in the show notes so they can check that out. Now, minus coming there to your hometown to stalk you, Erin, how would people go about keeping up with you or what you have going on?
Definitely. I think the best way to keep up with the current projects I'm working on is to join my Facebook group For the Love of Board Games -book and For the Love of Board Games -podcast. I'm hoping to soon create a Facebook group that kind of houses everything, but I haven't been able to yet. So definitely check those groups out. I'll be announcing some very, very cool projects very, very soon, and you don't want to miss it.
Okay, and so you said you'll announce them. Is there any chance you might give us a little bit of dirt to anybody who might be listening?
So the nonprofit that I've been working on is very, very exciting. It's something that the board game industry currently does not have. This is not your nonprofit for donating board games or board games for schools and libraries. This is something completely new. That's really all I can say at this point. Definitely, like I said, join the Facebook group so you can be the first one to know about this. But it's going to be an awesome, awesome place, something you've never seen in the board game industry, and you're going to love it.
Awesome. So like she said, go ahead and we'll leave all the links in the show notes. Go ahead and jump in those groups and go ahead and definitely also check out For the Love of Board Games, a book for board gamers. It's on Kickstarter through Thursday, the 27th of September, and we'll leave all the links in the show notes. So once again, we wanted to thank you for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us tonight to talk all about this, Erin. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. This was awesome.
No problem. You have a good one.
You too.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.